Hi everyone, today's video is going to be on solving multi-step equations, and this video in particular is going to focus on supplementary and complementary angles and modeling equations to help us find the measure of angles. So let's get started. Question 1 says two angles are supplementary if their sum equals 180 degrees. So I'm going to draw this out. If we have a straight horizontal line, then this angle here would be 180 degrees. And what it's saying is two angles are supplementary if their sum equals 180 degrees. So I could draw a straight line here and see how it forms two angles no matter how I stretch this line. So that's what they mean. So any two of these angles would be supplementary because they add up to 180 degrees. So I'm just going to drop it over here. So now we have two angles. We have angle A and angle B, and they both add to 180 degrees. And the question says, one angle is 3 times the measure of its supplement. Write an equation and solve to find the measure of each angle. So if one angle is 3 times the measure of its supplement, that means it is 3 times the size as the other angle. So I'm just going to write an equation to model this. So 1B angle is equal to 3A angles. And we've shown this here because 1B angle is 3 times the size as just one of this A angle. So this can be our first equation. Now, we also know more information. We know that A plus B equals 180 degrees, so that can be our second equation. If we could get equation 2 in terms of just one variable, so either all in terms of A or all in terms of B, then we could solve for either A or B. Since we know 1B is equal to 3A's, we can plug in 3A instead of this B here and get everything in terms of A. So that'll be equation 3. Now we can gather like terms, so A plus 3A makes 4A, so 4A equals 180 degrees. Now to get A by itself, we need to divide by 4, and what we do to one side of the equal sign, we must do to the other side. So now these 4's cancel, and we get A is equal to 180 degrees divided by 4. And 180 divided by 4 is 45, so A is equal to 45 degrees. Now that we know A is 45 degrees, we could plug it back into either of these equations to solve for B. I'm going to plug it into the first equation. So B is equal to 3 times A, which is 45 degrees. Therefore, B is equal to 135 degrees. If you want, you could check to make sure both of these add up to 180 degrees, and I know that they do. And lastly, you should write a therefore statement at the end of your word problem to summarize everything. So my therefore statement says, therefore, angle A equals 45 degrees and angle B equals 135 degrees. Now let's move on to question 2. Question 2 says when two angles are complementary, their combined total is 90 degrees. So this is what 90 degrees looks like. It's two perpendicular lines, and we usually represent 90 degrees with a little box like that. So if I draw a line here, splitting this angle into two, any two of these angles would be complementary because they add up to a total of 90 degrees. So I'm just going to drop it here. So in the question, it says one angle is 4 times the other angle. So if we have two angles here, we have angle A and angle B. B is bigger, so I'll let that be the one that is 4 times angle A. So as you can see, approximately 4 angle A's can fit inside of one angle B. So if I were to set up an equation for this, I would say 1 angle B is equal to 4 angle A's. And my second equation would be angle B plus angle A is equal to 90 degrees. We can plug our first equation into our second equation to get everything in terms of a. So if we substitute b equals 4a into here, we get our third equation. So we get 4a plus a is equal to 90 degrees. This simplifies to 5a equals 90 degrees. Dividing by 5 on both sides, we get a is equal to 18 degrees. We can plug this back into either equation 1 or 2 to solve for b. So I'm going to do the second one this time. So b plus 18 degrees equals 90 degrees. So to get b by itself, we need to subtract 18 degrees from both sides. These would then cancel, and then b would be equal to 90 degrees minus 18 degrees. And so b is equal to 72 degrees. And now we can conclude with a therefore statement. Therefore, angle A is 18 degrees and angle B is 72 degrees. Question 3 says 3 angles sum is 90 degrees. So we have a 90-degree angle and we're dividing it into 3 smaller angles. The smallest angle is 1/3 of the largest angle, and the middle angle is double the smallest angle. So I'm going to write 3 let statements. So I'm going to say let S equal small angle, let M equal medium angle, and that symbol just means angle. It's showing an angle with a line through it to show the angle. And lastly, let L equal large angle. So let's form our first equation from the first sentence. 3 angles sum is 90 degrees. So that means the small angle plus the medium angle plus the large angle equals 90 degrees. That's our first equation. In the second sentence, it says the smallest angle is 1/3 of the largest angle. So that means the smallest angle is equal to 1/3 of the largest angle. So that's how we get equation 2. And let me actually write my L's like this so we can distinguish it from a 1. And in the next part of that sentence, it says, and the middle angle is double the smallest angle. So we get equation 3 from that. The middle angle is equal to double the smallest angle. So 2 times the smallest angle. What are the measures of the 3 angles? So this is all the information that we have. Remember, we could solve this if we can put everything in terms of one variable. If we look at equations 2 and 3, they both have s's in them. So that means we could put this L in terms of s, and we could put this M in terms of s. So that means we could change this M and L out for s's, and that's going to help us solve for s. And once we know what s is, we can solve for L, and we can also solve for M. So let's do that. So I'm going to rewrite our equation. So we have S plus M plus L equals 90 degrees. S stays the same. 1M is equal to 2 S's, so we can just sub out this 1M for 2 S's. But this is not an L, so we can't just swap them as easily. This is a 1/3 times L. So we need to isolate L first so that we can sub it in. So if we have S is equal to 1/3L, this is the same thing as L divided by 3. So to get L by itself, we need to multiply by 3. So if we multiply by 3 on this side, we also need to multiply by 3 on this side. This would cancel, and we get 3S is equal to L. Now that we have L by itself, we can easily sub in this 3S in its place. Now we can collect like terms, so S plus 2S plus 3S gives us 6S. So 6S equals 90 degrees. Now to isolate s, we need to divide by 6 on both sides. These would then cancel, and s would be equal to 15 degrees. Now that we know what s is, we can plug it into our other equations to solve for m and l. So I'm going to plug it first into the m one. So m is equal to 2s. And since we know s is equal to 15, so 2 times 15 degrees, we now know m is equal to 30 degrees. And we can do the same thing for L. So with equation 2, we have S is equal to 1 over 3 times L. S is 15 degrees, so that's equal to 1 over 3 times L. To isolate L, we need to multiply by 3 on both sides. These would cancel, and 3 times 15 is equal to L, so L is equal to 45 degrees. And now we can write a therefore statement. Therefore, S is equal to 15 degrees, M is equal to 30 degrees, and L is equal to 45 degrees. And I can write them as S, M, and L because over here I wrote this little legend that says that S represents the small angle, M represents the medium angle, and L represents the large angle. So that is all for today's video. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.